Welcome, curious minds, to a tale that begins with an ordinary walk in the woods and quickly unravels into something far more mysterious. Imagine this: a quiet park, a secluded tree, and something hanging above, a strange, otherworldly presence that defies explanation. What was it, and why did it leave even seasoned experts scrambling for answers? If you've ever wondered how the natural world can still surprise us in ways we never imagined, then stay with me, because this story might just change the way you see the forests around you. Let's dive in. Jake had been walking around in a state park near his home when he stumbled upon a secluded tree bearing what looked like an enormous beehive. It was something unlike he had ever seen before, and he had been to this nature preserve an awful lot. Unsure of what it was exactly, he notified the park ranger. However, when the ranger arrived, his eyes widened, his voice stammering as he muttered, "What is that sound?" But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. Jake had been going to this nature reserve for a long time. The convenience of it being only a mile away from his home was a big bonus. Due to his frequent visits, he almost knew the park inside and out, so the strange thing hanging atop a tree had set the warning bells ringing in his head. Jake's dog, Bella, had been whining at the monstrosity of a beehive. Jake wasn't even sure if it actually was a beehive or if it could be something else. He could hear a slight buzzing coming from it as he stood underneath it, but there was no bug in sight. Jake knew that this couldn't be good, but he knew exactly who to call to take care of it. He walked out of the reach of the hive. This way Bella also became calmer, which had been just what Jake needed. His worry for both the hive was only heightened due to Bella's behavior. Did the dog sense something that he hadn't seen? Bella would often bark when it concerned his safety, but never before two animals or bugs. Something strange must be going on. Jake grabbed his phone, ensuring that Bella stayed close to him as he made the call. He was lucky to know this state park's head ranger personally. This way, he didn't have to call the regular phone number most visitors did. It took a few rings, but he finally heard a crackle from the other side of the line. "Ryland speaking," a gruff voice said. Ryland and Jake had gone to high school together and used to be thick as thieves. Jake knew that by calling him, his concern would be taken seriously. "Hey, Ryland, this is Jake." He started off quickly, pausing to figure out what he would tell him exactly. "I'm sorry to bother you, but I found something rather strange." Jake heard a sigh on the other side of the line. "Is this one of your stupid pranks, Jake? If so, please tell me you didn't place it in my crawling space underneath my house again." Jake had to wipe the grin off his face. That had been a good prank, but he shook his head. "No, Rye, this isn't a prank. I am in the state park. I don't know how to explain it, to be fair. I think it would be better for you to just come down here. Bella is going crazy, restless because of it," Jake said, keeping Bella close to him by the use of her leash. "Where are you?" Ryland said, his voice grave. "By the lone tree," Jake said, knowing that Ryland would understand where he would be. Both of them knew this park inside and out, Jake due to his frequent visits, and Ryland because of his job. It shouldn't be too hard for him to find me, Jake thought. "Stay there. I'm coming as fast as I can." Before Jake could answer, the call ended. Ryland was probably in a rush. Did he know more than he let on? It didn't take too long for Ryland to arrive. His ranger car came to a screeching halt before him. As Ryland came out of the vehicle, the expression on his face was grave. Jake looked at him, puzzled. "Rye, is everything all right?" Jake asked, but Ryland didn't even look at him. No, his sole focus was on that tree and the strange hive. Jake walked forward as well, placing his hand on Ryland's shoulder. However, as he did so, Ryland flinched. Jake couldn't understand why. Everything happened so fast that Jake hardly saw it coming, but Ryland quickly grabbed his arm and yanked it off him. He looked at Jake, eyes filled with alarm, darting from him back to the hive. Though it was only quiet for a second, it felt like multiple minutes until Ryland finally spoke the very ominous word, "We have to go now." Though Jake didn't yet understand why, he still listened to Ryan's call. As Ryland walked away from the close proximity of the hive, the buzzing sound again lessened. The two and Jake's dog Bella made a beeline to Ryland's car. Jake was still wondering what exactly was happening. He needed to know. "Ryland, what the actual is going on?" Ryland, being the one driving, quickly glanced at Jake. "I'll tell you when we reach headquarters," Ryland said. Jake didn't understand what was happening. Pulling into the headquarters, they were greeted not by the usual bustling activity, but by a scene that resembled a crisis center. Rangers and staff moved about with urgent purpose, their faces etched with concern, speaking in tones just above a whisper. Inside a dimly lit conference room, Jake found himself among a group of biologists, their eyes reflecting a mix of alarm and determination. They spoke in subdued tones, discussing the enigmatic situation with a gravity that made Jake's heart race with both anticipation and dread. Ryland, with a somber tone, disclosed that the bizarre hive Jake discovered was not an isolated incident. Similar structures had been found in other state parks, each associated with unexplained and mysterious occurrences. This revelation sent a ripple of shock through the room as everyone grappled with the implications. As Ryland unfolded a map dotted with markers, he detailed a disturbing pattern emerging from other parks. Wildlife behaving erratically, plants growing in abnormal patterns and cycles, each report seemed to weave a tapestry of ecological anomalies, all centered around these enigmatic hives. The hives, Ryland said, are not just oddities, they're influencing their surroundings. He spoke of plants blooming out of season, animals wandering dazed, and a palpable shift in the natural order near these hives. It was as if the hives were exerting an unseen force on the environment. In the room, theories began to swirl like leaves in a storm. Could these hives be the result of environmental pollution, a new species, or something even more unknown? The air was thick with concern as each possibility brought its own set of daunting questions and fears. Ryland's voice, firm and urgent, broke through the rising tide of speculation. "We need to act to understand these hives before their effects spread further." His words hung in the air, a call to arms that underscored the critical nature of their mission. Ryland, with a mix of frustration and determination, shared the progress of his ongoing investigation into the hives. He proposed a theory that these anomalies were linked to a larger environmental shift, a theory that suggested the hives were symptoms of a deeper, unseen ecological change. His theory, he explained, hinged on the possibility that these hives were a direct result of recent shifts in the environment, potentially linked to broader phenomena like climate change. This hypothesis, though still unproven, offered a dawning perspective on the interconnectedness of ecosystems and their susceptibility to change. Jake, reflecting on Bella's unusual behavior near the hive, mused aloud, "Could animals be sensing something we can't?" His question hung in the air, suggesting that the answer to this mystery might lie in understanding the instincts and reactions of the wildlife affected by these hives. Ryland spread out a collection of maps and photographs across the table, each marked with the locations of the hives. He pointed to the images, highlighting the striking similarities and subtle differences between each site, suggesting a pattern that was both revealing and enigmatic. Despite the array of data, Ryland acknowledged a sobering truth. They were still far from grasping the full nature and origin of these hives. This admission underscored the complexity of the puzzle they faced, a puzzle that seemed to grow more intricate with each new piece of information. In a moment of resolve, Jake stepped forward, volunteering to assist Ryland in a closer investigation of the hive. Together, they began to outline a discreet exploration mission, one that would take them directly to the heart of the mystery that had enveloped the park. As they prepared, discussions centered around the necessary equipment, protective gear, sampling tools, cameras, and the precautions needed to approach the hive safely. It was a venture into the unknown, and every detail was scrutinized to ensure their safety and the integrity of their mission. Rylan, recognizing the need for specialized knowledge, assembled a team for the expedition: an entomologist to study any insect activity, a botanist well-versed in local flora, and other experts in environmental science. Each member was carefully chosen for their expertise and their ability to navigate the unpredictable. The team gathered around a large map, their heads bent in concentration as they strategized how to approach the hive. The discussion was methodical, focusing on how to study the structure and its effects without causing any disturbance to the surrounding ecosystem. Amidst the planning, Jake felt a surge of determination. His long-standing connection to the park, a place of countless memories and peaceful solitudes, now drove him to understand and protect this mystery. It was personal, and he was resolutely committed to uncovering the truth behind the peculiar hives. Back at the site of the hive, the team, equipped with their expertise and tools, commenced a meticulous examination of its structure. They noted its size, shape, and peculiar texture that seemed unlike anything they had encountered in nature before, sparking more questions than answers. As they circled the strange formation, it became clear that this was no ordinary beehive. It lacked the buzzing activity of bees, and its surface seemed to shimmer subtly in the dappled sunlight, hinting at an organic composition that was both familiar and alien. Nearby, Bella's unease was palpable. She paced restlessly, whining softly. Her behavior was out of character and visibly affected by the hive's presence. Her instincts seemed to be in overdrive, as if she could sense something the humans could not, adding another layer of intrigue to the enigma. The team employed advanced equipment, from environmental sensors to spectral analyzers, to examine the hive. Their goal was to understand its composition, position, and origins without causing any disturbance, collecting data that could shed light on the mystery. Meanwhile, the botanists studied the flora near the hive, discovering anomalies in plant growth and health. These irregularities suggested the hive's influence extended beyond its immediate surroundings, affecting the ecosystem at large. With precision, the team collected samples, including hive fragments, unusual materials, soil, and plants. Each specimen was labeled and stored carefully for later analysis. As they worked, the team noticed altered wildlife behavior. Birds avoided the area, and small mammals were unusually timid, underscoring the hive's wide-reaching impact. The team theorized that the hive emitted an invisible field that subtly altered the natural order. Back at headquarters, the samples were compared to those from other parks, providing broader context. The team searched for patterns in composition, structure, and impact. They cross-referenced historical environmental data, examining climate and ecological changes in search of correlations. Collaborative efforts with rangers and ecologists from other parks added valuable insights to their findings. Despite their meticulous analysis, the data remained puzzling, leaving the team with more questions. Seeking answers, they consulted renowned scientists who debated the hive's ecological implications. Some proposed climate change as a factor, while others suggested invasive species or unknown natural processes. These discussions highlighted the complexity of the phenomenon. A breakthrough revealed that the hive was not a beehive, but a type of fungus. This fungus vibrated in response to sound and body heat, explaining the mysterious buzzing noise. Further studies showed a symbiotic relationship between the fungus, tree bark, and animal remnants. The fungus thrived in these unique conditions, adapting in ways previously unknown to science. This discovery linked similar formations across parks, proving they were part of a broader natural phenomenon. The team began viewing the hives as extraordinary examples of nature's adaptability. They recognized these fungal structures as remarkable adaptations to environmental changes, a testament to life's resilience and complexity.